What if one of the greatest discoveries in human history, something that could literally rewrite our past, was found deep beneath the ocean, but in the exact same spot where superpowers hid their most dangerous Cold War secrets? Well, today we're diving deep into a story that does just that, blurring the lines between ancient archaeology and modern-day espionage. I mean, just think about that for a second. A lost city deep in the Caribbean. It sounds like something straight out of a movie. And back in 2001, this wasn't fiction. Headlines around the globe were screaming about a potential Atlantis found off the coast of Cuba. But, as we're about to see, the story that got everyone excited and the scientific reality are two very, very different things. You've probably seen these incredible images of pyramids and grand avenues on the seafloor. They went absolutely viral. But that's not what the technology actually detected. The raw data? Well, that's a whole other story. This isn't just about what was found. It's about how it was interpreted. And more importantly, what other secrets might be hiding in those same waters. Okay, so let's rewind and start at the very beginning, with the discovery that kicked off this whole global mystery. So, picture this. It's 2001. A Canadian company run by marine engineers Polina Zalitsky and her husband Paul Weinsberg is doing survey work for the Cuban government. And at a staggering depth, we're talking 700 meters, that's over 2,200 feet down, their sonar starts picking up something that just should not be there. A whole series of massive, symmetrical, geometric stone structures. And this wasn't just a couple of odd-looking rocks, it was a huge area, covering 20 square kilometers, sitting on an otherwise completely flat, barren plain of white sand. And this, right here, is where the mystery really takes a deep dive. Because the crucial evidence, the sonar scans, well, there's a huge gap between the data and the dream. The sonar data itself showed features that were really hard to explain naturally. You know, things like geometric crests, weird depressions that looked almost like amphitheaters, and what seemed to be cubic and even pyramidal blocks. But what captured everyone's imagination were these highly detailed artistic renderings. They took these ambiguous blips on a screen and transformed them into a full-blown underwater city. The reality, though, was a lot murkier. And this is where the scientific pushback comes in, and honestly, they had a pretty good point. See, side-scan sonar basically paints a picture using sound waves. When you're 700 meters deep, those sound waves spread out and the details get really blurry. An error of just a few meters can easily make a totally natural rock formation look like a perfect, man-made right angle. Skeptics were quick to argue this was just a cool case of geology, not archaeology. So this all boils down to one massive debate. Was this place built by intelligent hands, or was it just carved out by Mother Nature? The debate is just fascinating. On one side, you've got these shapes that look so artificial, and according to Polina Zalitsky, they even brought up samples of polished granite that just don't belong in that area. But on the other side, geologists will tell you that natural forces can create shockingly symmetrical things. Just look at the Giant's Causeway in Ireland. It looks like it was built, but it's 100% natural. But you know what's really interesting? This quote right here. It's from Dr. Manuel Iturralde Venant, the lead Cuban geologist on the project. He was really cautious, but he flat out admitted that he couldn't explain these formations through any natural process he knew of. So this wasn't just some fringe claim. You had the head scientist on the project genuinely stumped, which gave this whole mystery some serious scientific weight. And here is the absolute biggest problem for the lost city theory. You could call it a deal breaker. Geologists did the math. And for this landmass to sink that deep, it would have had to be above water at least 50,000 years ago. But 50,000 years ago, humans weren't building complex cities. Not even close. It just doesn't fit the timeline of human civilization. As one archaeologist said, the whole thing is out of time and out of place. So you'd think with a mystery this profound, everyone would be scrambling to get a submersible down there, right? Well, nope. The research just stopped. The official reasons are what you'd expect. Deep sea exploration is crazy expensive, the funding dried up, and there were political hurdles. A big expedition planned with National Geographic even got canceled. But given the location, you just have to wonder if there's more to that story. And this is where the story completely flips on its head. When you start looking into the person who actually made the discovery, you realize this isn't just about ancient history. It's about the Cold War. This is Polina Zalitsky, the marine engineer who found the anomaly. But her story didn't start in Canada. She was born in the Soviet Union and was a Soviet engineer with top-secret access to military projects before she defected in 1971. And get this, where was one of her secret projects? In Cuba.
Back in the 1960s, Zalitsky was on the team that designed and built a top-secret Soviet nuclear submarine base at Cienfuegos. This was a hugely important strategic asset for the USSR, and it operated for decades just 90 miles off the coast of the United States.
So just let that sink in for a second. The exact same person who found what might be a lost ancient city had, years earlier, helped build a top-secret military installation in the very same strategic waters. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's an unbelievable coincidence that directly connects this deep-sea mystery to the height of Cold War tensions.
And guess what? Those tensions, they never really went away. In fact, the strategic importance of these waters is heating up all over again, which makes this so much more than just some historical puzzle.
I mean, just look at this timeline. You can see the pattern. It's like history repeating itself. After the Cuban Missile Crisis in '62, the Soviets secretly built that sub-base in '69. Now, fast forward to today, key nuclear treaties have been dismantled, and in 2020, Paulina Zalitsky herself is reporting that Russia is back and actively rebuilding its military infrastructure in Cuba. And the evidence is piling up. Russian spy ships are making dark visits to Havana, meaning they turn off their transponders so they can't be tracked. There's a new state-of-the-art Russian intelligence base that's active right now, listening in on U.S. communications. And we're not talking about a small operation here. Russia has reportedly pledged over €1 billion to completely rebuild Cuban ports so they can service their modern navy, and that includes their nuclear-capable submarines. And who better to put it all into perspective than Paulina Zalitsky, the woman at the center of both of these stories? She puts it bluntly. She calls this the third waltz of the Cuban crisis. The message, she says, is exactly the same as it was in the 60s. A show of Russian military power right on America's doorstep, basically saying, we are dangerous, stay out of our way. Which brings us right back to our central question. Is it really just a coincidence that this incredible ancient mystery is located in the exact same waters that are now a major flashpoint for global tensions? Maybe the research didn't stop just because of money. These waters have been under intense surveillance by intelligence agencies for over 60 years. Could it be that any kind of deep-sea exploration here is just too sensitive from a national security standpoint? So in the end, we're left with these two massive intertwined mysteries. One is potentially tens of thousands of years old and could challenge everything we know about human history. The other is playing out right now, a dangerous echo of the Cold War. And in the deep strategic waters off the coast of Cuba, the answers to both of them remain completely submerged and just out of reach.